Okay, so conditional branching. Well, in Java, an if test is basically the same as Boolean test in a while loop, except instead of saying while there's still something, you will say if there is still something. So, we've seen loops, and now let's learn how to make decisions in Java using if statements and if/else. So, how a program does something, well, it will only do it under the condition is if it's true. So, starting with if. So, to start our work with this, we'll need to create a variable. In this case, I made it integer x and I assigned it the value 5. And now let's get into the fun. So if, keyword if, obviously, if we're working with if statements, we'll need an if. And we will use our open close parentheses, which is quite normal procedure when working with this type of code like while loops, if/else, for loops. You always use these parentheses, you'll see them, if open close. And what do we do with these? Well, in the case of if, we are going to do very basic example using the equals operator. So if x equals 3, equals means equality operator. It actually compares the value to see if it is equal. Open bracket system.out.println parentheses open close x is this value of 3. And just to demonstrate something very quickly, we're going to do this just with if statement right now. And we'll set this value of our integer x to 3. And let's see what happens. So we run this. My bad, I forgot to put my semicolon. But let's see. X is this value of 3. So integer x has been assigned the value of 3, and we set up our if statement to do if x equals operator 3, then it will print x is this value of 3. So x is 3, thus it will print this. But let's see what happens if we change this back to 5, for example. And we rerun this, it will not give us anything. Well, that's because x is not 3. But to expand upon this, we can actually make our program give us a return message if the condition is false. How do we do this? Well, first, we're going to close our if statement with a close bracket. Then we will initiate an else statement with the keyword else, and we will open it in the same manner we opened the if statement. Then we will provide our program a system.out.println message, and we will give it x is actually not this value of, let's say, number, whatever, doesn't matter. It's subjective to each in their own. And we must make sure to close this, close bracket. Very well, very well. Let's run this again. And we can see x is currently not 5. So x is actually not this value of number. So our x is not the value of number which our if is looking for equals 3. So it will get this message back. So that's pretty much it. And to expand upon this, you can actually expand, you can stack, you can use more conditions using else if. So how does this work? So we have an else statement here, right? But in here we can stack it and use else if x equal 5. Let's see what this do. So we'll set it equal 5, have our open bracket for this condition of else if, because we have our close bracket here for if, so we now have to open our else if, and we will do system.out.println our quotes x is the value of 5. This is awesome. And we obviously put our semicolon as our period to end it. And then we close the else if here, open our else, and we'll run this now. And x is the value of 5. This is awesome. Our terminal provides us. This is what happens when we run the program. So now we have 3 steps, right? Only one has to be true, obviously, for this to give a return value. You can't have multiple given. I mean, you could, but technically when we run this, it will iterate through these 3 options, and whenever it finds one that is true and meets the requirement, it will give that code. So we've shown how to do if statements on their own. You can use an if on itself. You can use if and else together for 2-step, or you can do stack with else if to have very layered decision making. So this is basically how Java lets your code branch and depends on what's true at the moment. So in short, use if when you want to do something only if a condition is true. Use if else when you want to do one thing or the other. That's it for branching. Thank you.